former FBI agent Robert Hilland reluctantly asked psychic medium John Edward for help to hunt an elusive killer, John Smith. Smith is now serving life in Ohio for murdering his first wife, Janice, and he was also indicted in his second wife's death, but those charges were later dropped. Well, Hilland and Edward recount those cases and others in their fresh new book, Chasing Evil. This is out tomorrow. Robert Hilland and John Edward join us right here in studio. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Great to have you on really an interesting topic people may not expect. And Robert, I know for you, you've said that to describe you as a skeptic when approaching John about having a medium's help to solve cases would be accurate. So what propelled you to do something out of the ordinary?
I had heard him many times, and I was in disbelief of the subject matter. I couldn't fathom that this was real. I had many cases at the time, and one of them was one that had been in work for many years and didn't have any leads, witnesses, or suspects. So it was under that premise that I met John and to discuss this case, and he was either going to prove himself to be a fraud or not, and that's how I met him.
And I mean, John, some are very skeptical of your work.
Some?
Right, yeah. Okay, a lot of folks. Describe how, it all works, how you approach a case.
So this is really not my world. My dad was a New York City police officer who told me that, don't sully my name and please don't ever let me find out you're working with the police. And I was like, no problem, not my thing. The way that I treat my clients is when I sit with somebody, whatever I see, hear, and feel, I help them where they're at on their path, whether it be connecting with their loved ones in spirit or with whatever their issue is. His issue happened to be both. So I treated him no differently than I would a regular client because my work is really not crime solving. My work is problem solving. He just happened to take the information and run with it.
Let's focus on that John Smith case. Sure. You're obviously trained to follow the facts.
I am.
And you were doing that. Where did John help fill in the holes?
So this case, by the time I picked it up, had existed for 24 years. Cases go cold for reasons, and in this case, that was the facts. John helped specifically when I met him that day. I brought items that belonged to one of the victims, and he picked these things up and provided information that was impossible for him to have known. He picked up on not only the victim's information, but gave us specific clues to follow from there.
And John, you kind of gave specific information, but almost like general guidance as well. There was something about a children's soccer ball that really stood out and helped push the investigation forward. What was that? So
in this book, Chasing Evil, there are a number of different stories that we kind of are weaving through with an overarching story. And the one that you're referring to is just like when I'm seeing a client, I'll get insights and moments where I'll say, here's the turning point. This is something pivotal. Pay attention when this happens. And then this is the fork in the road for you. What you do with that is up to you.
Yeah, I would say to the skeptics, I am that guy, right? I'm a follow the facts guy, man of logic, reason, evidence. But the information provided not only was specific, other times they were symbolic and they didn't make sense to me. He would say something to your point, hey, look for a soccer ball. And I would say, a soccer ball? What does that mean? And later on, that would reveal itself during the case.
What does this prove then, though? Because I know a lot of detectives will say this kind of investigative work, it is an art, it's a science, it's not just the facts on the ground, but also a feeling in your gut. Is there something to be learned from this type of unusual union?
Well, before you wait, I just want to say that I think that anybody that does the work that they do, number one, are unsung heroes. But number two, they are legitimately having to follow their instincts and their intuition, married with their own sense of investigative logic. So I think inherently that's there. I just feel like I was able to maybe enhance that a bit.
Yeah, to your point, investigations are predicated on evidence, right? Let's talk to witnesses, leads, suspects. But there are several cases, despite all of our best efforts, where you run into dead ends. Yeah. So I've worked more cases without John's help than with his help, but there were those where I ran everything to the ground. So I had this special friend here that could maybe say, hey, maybe knock on this door, or maybe look here. He never gave me the evidence, but he was like the compass to lead me to where I might find that evidence.
I want to read a quote from about halfway through the book. You've just come back from interviewing John Smith, and you're feeling really frustrated.
Oh,
and you said to John, what would happen if I did walk away from this? And you said, you won't, you can't, but if you did, it's absolutely your free will to make that decision. You say, what would the outcome be? And you said, for you, regret. For John Smith, freedom. for other women's death. And I found that so emblematic of what I feel like is your relationship, because you're not just providing, these clues and hints of where to look, but how was your relationship, that sort of support also as you went through those cases? Because this really reminds me of my mom saying, no, keep going.
Right. I mean, for me, I didn't trust him when he first showed up. He didn't trust me when he first showed up. So this transformation into a kind of, fraternity of investigation has been a journey of developing trust.
I would second that. Our relationship evolved over time, and the facts were what they were. The book was not written to convert anybody to be a fan or a believer in the subject matter of John Edward. These are many cases that took place over 25 years. This is just what took place. It is what it is.
And the idea to do what you can to crack a case. John Edward, Robert Hilland, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
guys.
being here. And you all should know, Chasing Evil is on sale tomorrow.